In MS Project, the outlining feature is used as a tool to take a deliverable and then drill down into the smaller component tasks that make up the deliverable. In other words, with each branch, we drill down farther to get into the details of the work. If you need some project lingo to wrap around this one way this has been presented is that tasks are part of activities that are part of stages and phases to complete a project. So you might look at your project's outline structure like this. Phases at the top, followed by a stage, then activities, then tasks at the lowest level. This is not written in stone by any means. It's just a way to picture your scheduling outlining. To give you some perspective in creating project schedules in Project, the outlining feature can go down more than 4 levels. In fact, in Project 2010, I think the outline level is infinite. In other words, you need to go down more than 4 levels to 6, 7, or 8. You can do it. Project will let you. On the screen is a residential construction template. I bring it up here so that you can take a look at what a multiple level outline can look like. As you can see here, there's not just a phase and a stage. It goes down into activities and down into tasks. And if you look closely, it makes sense. You start out with design, you go into site work, foundation, framing, interior, installation, etc. And the little plus signs actually are ways to expand and collapse the outline. We'll get more into this later on. So don't get too concerned here. This is just an example of what a detailed outline structure can do for you in a project schedule. The basic concept behind an outline in MS Project comes from understanding what a summary task is. A summary task is what is created at one level above the lowest level in a schedule. To get a concept, we'll create a simple schedule that starts on October 1st, 2012 and has 4 tasks. My first task is going to be something called Create the ABC product. And my next task will be Create A, Create B, and Create C. Now what we want to do next is we want to make row 1, Create ABC, a summary task. We're going to do that by highlighting rows 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to click the Indent Task command button on the Task tab. So go over to the Task tab and click the Indent button. Now quite frankly at this point your reaction is probably something like, so what's the big deal? I don't see anything different. Gantt bar row looks a little different and the text in the table is bold. Not much else looks like it's changed here. Well, now hold on. To see the importance of what we've done, let us link the tasks in rows 2, 3, and 4. We'll do that by just clicking on the Link Task button. Okay, now there's the difference. Row 1, the summary task, is now more clearly seen as the roll-up summary of the start through finish sequence of the tasks that are underneath it. Now, as you can see here, summary task rows are special. They roll up the scheduling information in their sub-rows so that you can get a summarized total of the subtasks. For example, you can see here that the combined durations of rows 2, 3, and 4 is 3 days. And if I increase one of the subtasks, the roll-up is affected in the overall duration for the group and the dates. And if I add a 4th task and turn on the critical path formatting and make that 4th task the driver with a longer duration, let's say 10 days, then the summary task reflects the change in the duration for the group. Now in this simple example that does not seem like much, but in a very large project, summary rows provide very important high-level scheduling information. As you might now perceive, this can be very important executive management level information that, for example, could be shared in a printout of a Gantt chart in a report. But before moving forward in more detail on working with summary tasks, I need to step back and discuss a trap. The trap involves summary tasks and the manually scheduling feature. The trap is that it's very easy to accidentally turn a summary task into a manually scheduled task, and this happens simply enough by just making an entry into the duration, start, or finish date columns in a summary task. And once you do this, the summary task no longer functions as a roll-up of the subtasks. It becomes somewhat independent, which is not good. I'd like to say something pithy right now like, don't do this, but unfortunately the likelihood of you accidentally doing this is very high, even for experienced Microsoft Project users. It's just that changing the scheduling columns such as duration, start, or finish is something that you naturally do on a regular task. So it is not if, but when you're going to accidentally do this. And unfortunately, Microsoft Project will contribute to you accidentally turning a summary task into a manually scheduled task, as Project will not warn you when the task mode is changed, other than changing the icon in the task mode column into a push pin. Let's look here at the fourth task, the driving task, where it is determining that the group will take 10 days to complete. But if I accidentally change the summary task duration to 12 days, look what happens. The summary task is no longer a roll-up, and it is no longer accurately giving the information on the underlying tasks. And if the schedule changes further, and for example, task 4 gets adjusted down to say 1 day, you may make the mistake of innocently reporting the wrong information. You can dramatically see how this could cause a serious problem in reporting totally incorrect information. Again, the key here is to realize summary tasks are unique and that they also have the potential to trap you into accidentally creating a manually scheduled task, and thus overriding the roll-up feature that summary tasks were designed for. Fortunately, the fix is easy. You simply need to monitor the task mode column, and when you see a manual schedule pushpin icon appear, you simply change the summary task back to an auto-schedule task, and then the summary task returns to its role of providing a rolled-up scheduling summary of its subtasks. Trust me, whether you are a beginner or advanced user, when you start using the outlining feature, you're going to have to remember to monitor the task mode column, as you will make this mistake accidentally and fall into the trap. So even though you may have taken all the precautions of setting the default task mode to automatic scheduling, and you don't go about intentionally creating manually scheduled tasks in your schedule, the trap of changing a summary task and changing one of its schedule columns and turning the summary task into a manually scheduling mode row is just an unfortunate thing that is going to occur. So as soon as you start to use the outlining feature in your schedules, you need to start watching for this trap.